Hello, this is Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this podcast series is called Spiritual Immersion, Taking the Plunge. And you may be hearing different noises behind me today. The windows are open, there's a lovely breeze outside, it's sunny, and I also have a pond, a fish pond with koi in it and a little fountain, so you might be hearing the noise of water flowing, and it is the pond fountain water, so there's no water running aside from that. So just kind of, you might hear some distracting noises and just want to let you know what that is. Sometimes my dog Gracie will bark just because she does. And rather than stopping it and editing, I just say, okay, hope you guys can put up with a bark once in a while. If it's too much, then I redo. So today I want to talk about the impact of self-deprecating conversations that we have with ourselves. 99% of what causes issues in our reality, in our world, in our personal reality is and are the thoughts that we think, and the way that we have conversations in our head with ourselves. Quite often you might notice that you're dialoguing a lot with other people. You might be rehearsing something you'd like to say, or you're rehashing something that you said in the past, or you wish you had said something, or someone said something to you and you feel really bad, and so you start saying bad things to yourself. So that self-deprecating conversation is sometimes really habitual. The big practice here in this process of spiritual immersion, taking the plunge, is the willingness to be more and more mindful to deeper and greater degrees and levels, so that you're aware of what it is that's causing or interfering with or limiting your capacity for joy, for your capacity for a sense of oneness and harmony and peace. And that will lie within the conversations that are going on inside your head with yourself. All of the coaching practices in the world, and certainly all the coaching practices I do with my clients, is always focusing on what is it that's happening inside your thinking mind. And there's also what's happening in your body and your emotions, but 90% of that is influenced by the thought process. The energy of the thinking influences the energy of our feeling and our sensations in our body. That's just the matter of fact of it. So if we can begin to distinguish to different degrees, the degree to which we are harming ourselves or limiting ourselves just by the conversation, then we can shift things. I can say quickly, but more quickly than if we ignore and deny and distract ourselves from those levels of conversation. Lately, I've watched myself. I've been having a certain conversation. I was having this situation with a friend of mine, and it was like, I need to tell her about that. And it's like, well, if I tell her about that, she might get mad, or it might hurt her feelings. And so I started rehearsing 400 different ways I could say that. And then I had to stop myself and go, what is it? What's going on right now? And because I was angry at myself, there was a part of me that was frustrated with myself that I was feeling how I was feeling. And quite often in spiritual conversations, we go, oh, that's not a spiritual thought. I can't have that thought. This is a big thing. We self-deprecate and we judge ourselves and we punish ourselves by saying, oh, that's not a spiritual thought. So there's something wrong with me that I am thinking that, or I'm less spiritual, or I'm less whatever that is. I'm less than because I'm having that thought. And the fact of the matter is, because this is a universe that we live in, or a multiverse, as they say, then every thought, every action, every thing is part of the universe. And the universe is divine in nature. And so every thought is divine to some degree. There's some level of that. We can get into conversation about evil at some point, if you want. But there's just a part of us that's either that even our fear thoughts start with something that we made up, but we're having a relationship with ourselves as we're having a relationship with our spirit self. So spirit or God or Jesus or the angels, the divine being knows you are a human being and you're struggling with the humanness of you as you're learning and growing your capacity to live in and engage in the spiritual you. That's what this spiritual immersion process is about. And so every thought is an okay thought. It's just, do I want to think that thought, or can I think a thought that's, closer to love, closer to compassion, closer to kindness? Just that. It's all on a gradient. So coming back to the idea that I'm having a thought and it's not spiritual, so therefore I'm not, and then fill in the blank, I'm not. That's the self-deprecation, that's the self-judgment piece that gets in the way of and interferes and limits our capacity to grow ourselves into something else. Now this can come, we were playing Wii golf with my friends, Marge and Fred, and Fred often says something just to be funny, but there's something self-deprecating in what he's saying. And it's like, I heard it and it clicked like, wow, I used to do that a lot, that self-deprecation. And what's the point of that? What's that in service to? How does it serve to be self-deprecating? Being self-deprecating, being judgmental, interpreting myself as less than, unworthy, unlovable, the self-deprecating, beating myself up. I'm talking about the state of being self-deprecating, and then I'm describing what I do, as opposed to saying what is that quality of being self-deprecating. For me, there's a hatred, a loathing, a depletion sense of that experience, taking myself down to lower and lower levels of value, I'll say. And we do that automatically. So many of us do it automatically. We don't even know we're doing it. And then we reach for something that's going to bring us out of that. Oh, I think I'll have something to eat. Let me eat some cookies or ice cream or something. That'll make me feel better. Or I'll go buy something because that'll prove that I'm not unworthy and I'm going to take care of myself that way. So there's that self-depletion, self-deprecating practice that we're doing. And as part of this spiritual immersion process, it's important that we start acknowledging and witnessing and noticing. Those are all the same words for like, wow, I'm doing that. And then the practice of stopping that behavior, just stopping it as a practice. So first the noticing, oh, look what I'm doing. I'm self-deprecating. Or when I'm having that conversation with somebody and not listening to myself in terms of what I'm wanting to say, but as I was, in my example of when I wanted to talk to a friend of mine and tell her something, I wasn't listening for what I wanted to say from an authentic, clear, kind, loving person. I was listening for how I was going to hurt her, or how I wasn't going to do it right, or how it was going to come off in a way that would be insulting or offensive. Now, we do that all the time. I mean, I've been doing this work for a long time, and here it is. It's like I had to stop the conversation and say, okay, what's going on here? What's true? And the truth is, I am thinking about her and a practice of hers, the way that she is being, that may be harmful to her on whatever degree. It's just my perspective. And to be able to share that with her from my loving kindness self, knowing that's what my intention, can I listen to myself as that versus the part that's self-deprecating and saying, you don't know how to do this, you can't do it, it's going to be wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's fascinating to get to that level of clarity with myself to say, oh, I can do this. I can say to my friend, we'll call her Carol, I can say, Carol, I have something I want to share with you. It's difficult for me to talk about, but it's something that's important for me to share with you. and then share it because it's something I need to share for myself. And she then can respond and respond with, "Oh, I totally get it," or "I hear what you're saying," or "No, you're wrong," or she can do whatever she wants. But I'm listening for that part of me that I want to honor, as opposed to self-deprecate. I want to honor and respect that I have something I want to say. And I'm going to say it potentially because I want to say it, not for the outcome. That's part of our thing, is we're always attached to the outcome. Maybe she'll get mad at me. Maybe it'll make her hurt. Maybe whatever that is. But that's not my intention. Is to share something in love, loving kindness. So if I could listen for that, then I'm not listening for my self-deprecating conversation. I'm listening for the part that says, I'm here in service to myself, coming to wholeness for myself, and then sharing that with my dear friend. So coming back to what this is about, the intention of this particular podcast is to say, sometimes we're self-deprecating and we don't even know it. And that depletes our human energy. It depletes our spiritual energy, our emotional energy. It makes us feel less than. And as we're evolving ourselves and expanding and elevating, we're going to come across these times and these ways of being in the world, our patterning of being that says, wow, that's limiting my capacity to expand. That's limiting my perspective on how I can be in the world. That's pretty dang awesome. Whether it's me or you are in the world and it can be pretty dang awesome all the time. I totally know that. So that's pretty much it for now. If you have any comments or questions or feedback, please feel free to email me at rosie@theparadigmshifts.com. You're welcome to check out my website, which is theparadigmshifts.com. You'll find blogs, videos, and books there, as well as other things. And if you're interested in coaching, you can see what my offerings are that way in terms of coaching or coach training. All right. Well, big hugs to you, and bye for now.